Released on February 16, 2015, Black Clover was published and greenlit for one of the biggest magazine companies in history, and that company is Shonen Jump magazine. Black Clover was bought in and published on the front cover of Shonen Jump magazine alongside other popular series such as Naruto, One Piece, and Promised Neverland. And with Black Clover being alongside with such popular series, it was sure without a doubt for it to blow up, especially being in the front cover of Shonen Jump magazine. And from 1 year after its success, it's definitely shown. From it reaching 100 chapters at the time of this video to it getting its own series in the month of October, Black Clover is outstanding when it comes to its own source material, especially comparing to its competitors One Piece and My Hero Academia. And when it comes to Black Clover's art style, at least for me, Black Clover is the best looking Shonen Jump series when it comes to the manga and its anime OVA counterpart. But there's one problem that people seem to have with Black Clover. What is the main issue and the main concern that people have towards the series that won't give it a fair chance because of it?
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No. Look at the top of his head.
If that clip wasn't obvious enough for you, then let me explain. The reason why people have a problem with Black Clover is because there are too many similarities to other popular Shonen Jump titles, especially when it comes to Naruto, such as the Ninetales being very similar to the skeleton in the beginning of Black Clover, to the main protagonist wearing a headband in Black Clover when no one else does in the series. And another similarity like that is the main villain in the first dungeon of Black Clover has a backstory of him being a child, and in order for him to witness the outside world, he has to murder all his friends that he went to school with, which sounds kind of similar to Zabuza's backstory in Naruto. I'm not saying that it is, but similarities like that make people complain about the series and make them not want to watch it, especially newcomers who want to get into Black Clover. Now, if you've gotten this far into the video, I want you to listen very closely to what I'm about to say next, because throughout this point of the video, I'm going to be wrapping up this topic and showing you why Black Clover isn't as bad as people make it out to be. And I also want to show you and put you in the same situation as the creator of Black Clover. But let's look at Tabata's first Shonen Jump title that was cancelled 24 chapters into its series, and that manga was Hungry Joker. Now, if you've read 24 chapters of Hungry Joker and 24 chapters of Black Clover, I wouldn't be surprised if you chose Hungry Joker over his newest work. If the manga pages I'm showing on screen doesn't interest you enough, maybe explaining the manga's plot will. Also, I'm going to be breaking this down in a more parody, shortened way to explain the plot of Hungry Joker, and if you were looking for a more in-depth look at Hungry Joker, then maybe a video for another time. But the main character in Hungry Joker is a very young doctor. On top of that, he's a genius throughout the 25 chapters this series has had. His assistant Chateau's is waifu for life, and in the second chapter of the series, she tries to back out and even leaves the doctor from all the strange demon encounters and fights that she's experienced. There are also religious moments mixed in with it, as well as amazing demon battles. On top of that, the regular human battles are so brutal and intense that it's so hard not to love the series or want to read it. And for the protagonist to learn about his backstory and how he's involved or even related to the murderers in Hungry Joker is just fantastic, and that's just a brief summary of the core. I hadn't even gotten into Chateau's wanting to quit working with the doctor, which is the protagonist, and the only way she was able to tag along after chapter 2 is because the doctor asked for her mother's blessing for her to keep working with him, which is a very mature thing to do. And I know the statement is very vague, but there are so many mature moments that happen in Hungry Joker compared to something like Fairy Tail, where there's no maturity, no development, even towards the end of the manga. But if you like Fairy Tail, there's nothing wrong with that. Even Hiro himself has said that he made the series from a fun experience at the bar. But from everything that I listed from Black Clover, having similarities to Naruto, like having both similar introductions of a powerful human fighting against a tailed beast or a four-armed skeleton. Number 2, having a protagonist wear a headband when no one else does in the series. And number 3, having the first villain kill his best friend in order for him to see the outside world. All three of these points make it very easy to see why people don't like Black Clover, and for any newcomer to want to invest their time into watching the show, because all three of these similarities are painfully similar to Naruto. But this is my closing statement regarding the whole thing. If you remembered, I talked about Tabata's cancelled manga Hungry Joker. I'm sure the premise and the maturity of that manga would have more people into Hungry Joker than they are Black Clover, but there are two reasons why Hungry Joker got cancelled. Number 1, it was way too violent, and number 2, it didn't meet Shonen Jump standards for a series like that to be in their magazine. Now, if you're asking yourself what kind of standards is Shonen Jump willing to put in their magazine, let me tell you a couple of concepts and see if they sound familiar to you. Protagonist wants to become something. Protagonist has a long-term goal in mind. Protagonist really loves to eat. Protagonist drags the fuck out of his dating love interest. And the last statement is that the protagonist is a complete idiot even during dire situations. All of those statements that I've listed, I have just singled out every Shonen Jump series outside of Promised Neverland and My Hero Academia from 2015 to 2017. Of course, I know someone out there is going to turn this around and say, What about Yu Yu Hakusho? What about Death Note? What about Rurouni Kenshin? And that's why I dropped the year 2015 to 2017. The only series I'll let pass is Bleach because Ichigo doesn't follow any of those motives as I mentioned previously. Also, Bleach is fire, especially when Eden from OKKO has a manga of Bleach that she takes to school with her. Bleach is straight flames, don't at me. Also, not to mention that certain series like One Piece can't become the same old series like they used to be because One Piece, from my knowledge, is the only anime series that has a Coca-Cola brand deal. And if you don't know anything about Coca-Cola, you have to be the most holiest of cleanest records, I mean the next level of God type of holy, to have a Coca-Cola brand deal. And if Shonen Jump has One Piece underneath their belt that's making Coca-Cola brand deals, also on top of that to have an eye drops for kids type of brand deal, why would they want to take anything like Hungry Joker or a Death Note or anything brutal if they're making amazing company brand deals that have them business and network with other companies? Because, newsflash, they're not going to tarnish their name just to have a cool series in their magazine if it's not kid friendly. So if you're blaming Black Clover for following these trends or these business practices and following Shonen Jump trends like Naruto, that's just the market and that's just the way the business works. And if you can't understand that from the creative standpoint, and if you can't understand that from a business standpoint, then I'll ask you, do you have a favorite anime YouTuber that is really popular and probably has a Crunchyroll partnership or works for Funimation? I'm sure behind the scenes or even in a public video, they don't see you as an individual. They only see you as a number. And of course, other numbers like yourself add up to their analytics and of course make them money. And of course, they move on and don't give a single fuck about what you think or what you've done for them. But hey, what do I know? I only have 20 subs under my belt. But let me ask you something. If you really think that your favorite anime YouTuber doesn't see you as a number or any type of way to make money off of you, and if you truly think that they care about what you think and your honest opinion or see you as an individual, then congratulations, you just played yourself. But back on the topic of Black Clover, I want you to put yourself in the creator's shoes of Black Clover and think, if you've created a series so long in advance and it got canceled previously, why not follow up your new series by following tropes and cliches of other shonen series? And not to slander this person's name, but the same logic applies to the creator of My Hero Academia. He had a canceled series, but then he followed it up by making a more kid-friendly series that ended up being more successful than his previous series. To wrap this whole thing up, characters like Goku, Naruto, and Deku from My Hero Academia, all three of these characters' kid counterparts ended up being Shonen Jump's biggest main series. Of course, these series didn't start off as kid-friendly. If you look at the original Dragon Ball, if you look at Naruto to the beginning Zabuza Haku arc, and if you look at Deku from all of his adventures, they all don't start off kid-friendly, but they have the face and the mentality of children. So of course nowadays Shonen Jump as a market of being kid-friendly wants to portray that, since that's been the main focus of their magazine. Again, I know Naruto hasn't been kid-friendly, especially from the beginning. There's dealt with blood, there's dealt with the Zabuza Haku arc, as well as the Forest of Death arc, again with Dragon Ball, with the panties and all the funny hilarious stuff with Master Roshi and the original Dragon Ball. Again, these series didn't start off as kid-friendly, but again, having these kid-like characters in the front of their magazine has been their most successful running show for Shonen Jump, so it makes sense for them to push that, since these are the series that got them from the ground up anyway. So if you can't understand why stuff like Boruto or Black Clover or My Hero or Promised Neverland are in the front of these covers or helping them out so much as a company, it's because they have a childlike mentality, and it's because of Dragon Ball, Naruto, and My Hero Academia has helped them so much grow as a company, that they didn't start out as child friendly, but it's because of their branding and their covers alone that has got them to the point that they are today.
So here's the deal. Life doesn't always want to be your friend. Sometimes it'll feel like life wants to hurt you.
That was a downer.
But you can't just hide, because nobody likes a quitter.
I'll go first.
You gotta take chances.
This fire isn't gonna stop me!
They never said it was gonna be fun or easy. Whether you're totally ready or when you least expect it, doesn't matter. Life will punch you right in the face.
Your resistance is futile.
Now you can lie there for a second. Cry a little if you need to. But get back on your feet, because it's the getting back up that counts. That's what shows you've got heart. That's what helps keep you going.
Hit me with everything you've got.
Fall down 7 times, get up 8.
I don't want to go down. Not without a fight.
No, we'll be right there with you.
Wake up. Be all that you can be.